Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the Most Offensive Podcast. I'm Slimmy V, and today I am going to be talking about Bill Gates and his plans for depopulation. As you have heard on recent occasions, due to this vaccine that's going around, people have connected Bill Gates and vaccines and depopulation. So I have heard things and I have connected that in the past myself, and I just wanted to do a little podcast about it. Okay? The question is does Bill Gates plan to depopulate the earth through vaccines? That is the question. Well, we cannot definitively say yes, right? But we cannot definitively say no. What we can say is watch the videos for yourself and analyze it, break it down, put the pieces together, make the connections, connect the dots, and see where this goes. Follow the yellow brick road, okay? Now, we all are thinkers. As you can see, I have my Unique Vision hoodie with me because I like to ask questions. I like to analyze, and I like to do it from an unbiased perspective. Okay, I want to be real about it. Why would I want to lie to myself and put fear into my psyche? Why do I want to do that? Okay, so I want to be real about this because this is really important. Bill Gates is a billionaire, as you may know. You may have used his product. Yeah, he is the co-founder of Microsoft. All right, I think you use some of his stuff. Here's one thing that you should know. He gives money. Okay, I believe he's the second largest donor to WHO, World Health Organization. And he has spoken on a TED Talk where he speaks about depopulating the earth because of the CO2. Now, I'm going to get to the video, but before I do, please consider hitting that like button. Okay? Subscribe to the channel. Spread this video so the channel can grow. Really appreciate those that's been watching the videos, commenting, and sharing this video. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this talk. Roll it.
Now, we put out a lot of carbon dioxide every year, over 26 billion tons. For each American, it's about 20 tons. For people in poor countries, it's less than 1 ton. It's an average about 5 tons for everyone on the planet.
5 tons of carbon dioxide for everyone on the planet. I want you to kind of visualize that, 5 tons for everyone on the planet. That's an average. That's what he's saying. Okay. So again, we are thinking of depopulation. So 5 tons for everyone on the planet, and that seems to be what he says at that time, 26 billion? So there are people who thinks that the earth is overpopulated and that we need to bring that number down. There are people who religiously, think of a religious person. When you believe in God, what will you do in order to please God? When science become your religion, what will you do to please science? There are people who firmly believe that we need to bring the number of population down. That's a danger. Let's continue.
And somehow we have to make changes that will bring that down to zero. It's been constantly going up. It's only various economic changes that have even flattened it at all. So we have to go from rapidly rising to falling and falling all the way to zero.
Falling all the way to zero. What exactly has to reach zero in order for us to be saved. Let's continue.
This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy.
So now you see all these things at factors, okay? You have people, services per person, energy per service, and CO2 per unit energy. And we gotta at least bring the CO2 down to zero. That's what he's saying. So one of these have to go down to zero. Listen to him say it.
Let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's
Awkward laugh, giggles from the audience, because everyone is thinking of people as is being displayed on the screen behind them.
Let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion.
Okay, they have 6.8 billion people. At that time, I may have mistaken it from when I said 26 billion, but so now you see 6.8 billion people on a planet in 2011. I'm going to show you some other things that relates to this, but keep listening.
Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Let's stop right there for a little bit. He mentioned vaccines, healthcare, reproductive services, right? Now, you either, one, okay, it's two things. What you want to do is you either want to make sure people take their birth control pills, use their condoms, right? Or take shots or vaccines to kind of sterilize humans and make it more impossible for them to produce a lot of kids. What was the intentions of God when he put humans on a planet? Be fruitful and multiply. Some people have 2, some people have 6, some people have 10. Right? It's what people want to choose, right? And I understand. Do not give yourself too much that you cannot handle. I get it. I totally get it. Right? But with Bill Gates, who is a billionaire, the second largest donor to WHO, which is the World Health Organization. This is huge. When he's saying this, how much pull does he have in producing vaccines? Obviously, he has a lot. Obviously, they're going to listen to him. Obviously, money talks. So we could lower that by perhaps 10 to 15%, he says. How are you going to do this? By keeping the birth rate low, right? Or 2, somehow managing to do something without telling the public, kill. I'm not going to be afraid to say it, but it's either 2 ways that you slow down the population. It's either you lower or you make humans unable to procreate, right? Or you somehow kill them off by using diseases, viruses, and stuff like that. Let's listen a little bit more. I don't want to go too far. I am going to post this in the description so you can watch it for yourself.
But there we see an increase of about 1.3. The second factor is the services we use. This encompasses everything: the food we eat, clothing, TV, heating. These are very good things. Getting rid of poverty means providing these services to almost everyone on the planet. And it's a great thing for this number to go up. In the rich world, perhaps the top 1 billion, we probably could cut back and use less. But every year, this number on average is going to go up. And so overall, that will more than double the services delivered per person. Here we have a very basic service. Do you have lighting in your house to be able to read your homework? And in fact, these kids don't, so they're going out and reading their schoolwork under the street lamps.
And I'm going to stop it right there, right? And because what he's essentially saying, if you read between the lines, right? If we lower the population, then we could provide the services that we have to the amount, because, see, there's too much people to take care of it. And that's causing a problem. Because each person is emitting a certain amount of gallons of CO2. So in order to control the population and get rid of the people, not as much CO2 is going to be emitted into the atmosphere. People really believe this stuff. People really believe that we should lower the population, and they are going through length diabolically. They are thinking evil thoughts. There is a saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The intent may be good, but regardless, you're going to hell. Let me show you this. This is really the Georgia Guidestones. I don't know if any of you are aware of what the Georgia Guidestones are. The Georgia Guidestones are a granite monument erected in 1980, okay, in Georgia, in the United States. It has a set of 10 guidelines that is inscribed on them. What is the first? Use your Google fingers and do that search for yourself. The number one, right here, I'm just going to read number one. It says, maintain humanity under how much? 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Number two, guide reproduction wisely. Improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Now I'm going to stop there, because this right here has some very dangerous things. Look at it. Okay? Number one is what I'm focused on. Maintain humanity under 500 million. We have roughly 7.8 billion people on the planet. Okay? Now, by 2050, we could reach 9.9 billion. That means the CO2 is going to be worse. That means the like-minded folks, such as Bill Gates, those who want to depopulate the earth, will have an incentive to lower the population even more. What's ahead in the future? I don't know. I'm not saying that Bill Gates say we are going to create something to kill people. I am simply letting you think, to put your thoughts together and say, how do we lower the population if we're not having people on birth control to limit their ability to procreate, or somehow by not telling people that we are killing them. Maybe we might have a process to eliminate certain people. That is something that Hitler, I'm not comparing the two, wanted to do. That is something that Margaret Sanger wanted to do. I could go into depth with this and make this video a lot longer, but I am not going to. I simply wanted to point out to you that there are people out there with the thoughts that we need to depopulate this planet because of the CO2 that's being emitted by each person and by each vehicle and the services that they do. So we need to somehow lower the population in order to lower the emissions of carbon dioxide. Think about this. God wanted us to populate the planet. Of course, it was at a time when the earth was kind of empty, right? And some people may say, well, that was a long time ago, and right now we have too much people. But you got to think about this. It is evil to kill. No matter how you look at it, it's not within your good nature to kill someone. God is life. Satan is death. Depopulation is death. The number of abortions are going up. They are instructing people to abort their children. They say in the countries like India, Africa, Afghanistan, those are the countries where each family is probably having 8, 9 kids, 6 kids. Definitely is probably the average. When you look at China, when you look at India, those are the most populated places on the planet. And if you understand what China does is they actually force each family member to have one child. I don't know if that's because the older people is probably outnumbering the younger people, so they might have to try to fix that, right? So you understand why vaccines are going to those countries, why these countries are facing deadly diseases. Could it be natural or could it be purpose? They did say these are the poor countries. And most of these poor countries face diseases like none other. The rich people like Bill Gates and their kids do not need the vaccine because they are not getting sick with these viruses and these diseases. So the vaccines and these healthcare services should go to these poor countries. How convenient. How convenient. I want you to think. I want you to analyze. I want you to make your own judgment. Don't let the media feed your mind as to what's going on, but use your brain, the brain that God gave you, and think for yourself. Analyze. Don't be biased. Okay? Well, if you're not offended, you're not listening. I am Slimmy V, and this is the most offensive podcast ever. God bless, stress less, and let Yahweh give you rest. I'm out. Peace.